Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home. Pardon those noises of the slightly above average ship review. Got a match for you today on North. Look, I know the name of the map. And we're in the legendary tier Pan American Cruiser San Martin. Now, I really have a lot to read to you about this ship to help you understand how to play it better if you got it like I did and never played it until now, or maybe you're interested in getting it. Here's a look at the teams. As stated, we're top tier. Unfortunately for us, there's no aircraft carrier. So I'm going to stop talking about the match. I'm going to start reading to you about San Martin. First of all, San Martin is based off of the Worcester. Unfortunately for you, me, and everybody else, Wargaming made the extremely unimaginative decision to base 3 ships in the Pan American Cruiser portfolio off of the Worcester. So you've got Ignacio Allende, that is the tier 7. You got Santander, that is the tier 8. And you've got San Martin, which is the tier 9. Now, just a baseline, Worcester has 6 twin 152 millimeter guns. And let me see if I can find the damage per second here. The HE DPM is 264,000. I don't think any of those ships have the DPM. Now, it's going to be tough for Ignacio Allende because Allende only has 4 twin 152s. So clearly it's not going to match that DPM number. Extremely imaginatively, Santander doesn't have any twin emplacements. It has 3 triple 152s. So you get 1 more gun barrel. And then San Martin has 2 triples and 2 doubles. So essentially you're getting 1 more gun barrel, but you're still 2 short of the Worcester. I don't know if I'm going to calculate the damage per second, but let me get my phone. I can really quick. With this build, I want to say I think we have a 5-second reload. So we'll just say 20, and then what is the max damage? That I might not know. That's not going to give me that. All right, well, I can't calculate it right now, but I'm sure you could calculate it because apparently on PC, it only has AP shells. All right, so that's enough about that. Basically, it's not going to have the DPM of the Worcester. As I can see, switching back really quickly, I think I got a lucky torpedo strike on a Worcester. All right, so your gun arrangement is different. You got 2 less guns. Really, I think the thing that strikes me the most about all of these Pan American cruisers is that they're all really fucking slow. And although I need the rudder shift to play these, I could definitely see how someone could want to put in the propulsion mod and then maybe in slot 3 instead of concealment go with the rudder shift mod, because these things are so slow to get started and their top speed is slow. There are fast battleships that are faster than these cruisers, so extremely difficult to get used to that. And you're going to see at the end of this match, you're going to see destroyers running away from me, and I just give up chasing because I know I can't catch them. Switching over to Reddit, from 2 years ago on the World of Warships Reddit, why does no one talk about San Martin? She has so many consumables and is basically a zombie, isn't she? I rarely see anyone talking about her or the ship line in general. Why is that? Some guy who deleted their account said it's my favorite cruiser at the moment. This thing is like an unkillable Minotaur. No, it's not like an unkillable Minotaur. Next guy said, San Martin is hard to kill in a kiting position with only 1 battleship shooting at it. That's it. That's its gimmick. And I can say if you're focused fire in this ship, you're gonna get fucking punched out. It's the worst gimmick to have in random battles. You see it more often in competitive. The next guy says, while it does have the ability to be the biggest cockroach of any cruiser, meaning it's unkillable, assuming you don't get immediately dev struck by a battleship, it does not have the output to deal meaningful damage to the battleships and to an extent the more heavily armored cruisers. And that, based on the games I've played in it, is totally true. It was difficult to set fires and difficult to do damage with these ships. And I'm saying that inclusively, including the Santander and the Ignacio Allende. Here we're trying to kill the Minotaur, and we finally set a fire there. But yeah, you're not going to pile up the ribbons in this ship. And here's what I'm talking about, the speed. We started, and we're so slow, we're not going to be able to get out of the way of that torpedo there, even though this ship is, oh my god. I mean, the only saving grace are these greater heals, or maybe they call them super heals, that allow you to get back some Citadel damage. But yeah, it just doesn't have the DPM, and it does not set fires easily enough, and it's slow. It really, really is slow. The next guy says, get giga fucked by more than one BB focusing you, especially if both have 30mm plus overmatch. Well, that may sum it up all at once. Next guy, it's decent, just nothing special or broken. I'm sure you have fun spamming the F key. That's probably for heals, and getting instant super heals, but the damage is not great. Most relevant in clan wars where she can hold a flank against another cruiser. Next guy, it's not a very impactful ship. Played well, it's hard to kill, and that's about its only trick. A below average player who can't make use of the funny button gimmick will get blown up and kicked back to port in the opening 6 minutes of a round. Someone says it's really fun. The AP sits cruisers from weird crits. He spelled that wrong. Cruisers from weird angles, but not great against other ship types. By the way, I hate to mention, on PC, this has improved ricochet and pen angles 60% or 60 degrees to 75 degrees. Here on console, it does not get that. It does not get that benefit. So keep that in mind, that if you're coming from PC, this is not going to get the pen for the AP that you're used to, at least from the angles. And I've seen that play out in matches I've played with this ship, albeit a couple of them in practice mode or whatever it's called. All right, San Martin is great. Most people prefer more traditional CL. The cruiser that people are really sleeping on is La Argentina at tier 5, since you get tier 7 armor piercing and a heal. You absolutely crush cruisers at those tiers with your improved ankles. Again, we don't get those, so that doesn't really apply. Blah 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 blah. The Hydro of San Martin is just defensive and performs below the average tier 10 cruisers. That's legendary tier on PC. Consumables are great if you can activate the combat mission. We don't have that either. Blah blah blah. San Martin combines the best of both hulls, the armor of Worcester and the heel of Minotaur. The ship has arguably the best staying power in the game, probably meaning 4 cruisers. While it's up, that is San Martin's strength. Also, while combining of the downsides of AP only, which we don't deal with, and the weakest AA of the 3. Damage output is horrendous. The point of San Martin is to exist as an obnoxious, unkillable cockroach that you have to angle against. I mean, I'm really wishing we got the PC version, which sounds like it has something to lean into. Ours don't. So enough reading World of Warships PC impressions, because we don't have that ship. If it was AP only with those really improved pen angles, I think it would be more interesting, because I found the lower tier Pan American cruisers to have really good AP, like tier 4, tier 5. You guys saw me citadeling people from like 10 kilometers away. So I'm disappointed that we didn't get the PC version that was AP only and had the improved pen angles. I doubt Wargaming even tried that out. They're not that imaginative. They probably said, oh, console players expect HE. Let's give it HE. And they did, you know? So I think it's got some good utility, especially with the DFAA, which again should be available to any ship that mounts a catapult fighter. You should have the option to have DFAA if your ship has AA. The heels are useful. I mean, we've needed to use them. I really think the long range sonar is kind of a gimmick, although we'll see it come into play now that I'm focused back on the match. We're going to see that come into play here at the end when we're doing cruiser stuff. So look how slow this fucking thing is. I'm like, please, can I file like a fucking travel warning so I can get around the island to shoot at the Kremlin? Finally. Goodness. All right, we're putting HE on target. You know, ironically enough, I was saying, oh, I would prefer it was only armor piercing. But we are going to set a fire that's going to burn for a little bit on the Kremlin. So there it is. There's the fire. All right, we dodged some torpedoes. Now, keep an eye out for that long-range torpedo launch indicator. That's one unique thing about the sonar. I don't like the sonar. It's very short range. I think it's really... It misleads you with this icon into thinking it's going to be some fucking awesome sonar. The only awesome thing about it is this warning indicator. That's it. That's the only awesome thing as we get our first handjob ribbon. Because it allows you to move your ship proactively to avoid torpedoes. Now, I would argue that if you were faster and a better rudder shift, you wouldn't need it. So if the ship didn't maneuver like a brick and wasn't slower than a fast battleship, then I would be like, you can keep your fucking advanced sonar, you know. But see, we're turning into the indicator, and by doing that, we're avoiding these torpedo launches. So this is literally what that long-range indicator sonar is designed for. And I don't know where the launch is coming, but there it is. And again, we totally dodged it. Now I'm like, look, I don't see this guy. Well, the other destroyer came over here, and this reminded me of kind of a variation on like a chess attack that I'm probably going to describe really badly, called the knight fork, except it's the opposite of it. So the knight moves in like an L shape on the chessboard, and a knight fork is when you can trap the enemy, where you can basically kill two pieces with the maneuvering of your knight at the same time. So you force the other player to choose between piece A or piece B, and then he'll save one and you can kill the other one, and then presumably he can't kill you. So this is like the reverse of a knight fork. Basically, I was like, oh hey, I'm hunting this destroyer, and then the other destroyer came over here and made me choose which destroyer I wanted to go after. Now keep in mind, we're slow. We're really slow. We're under 30 knots right now. So I'm like, the destroyer coming towards me is the best choice. So we let the other destroyer go. And here, again, we're going to use that long-range indicator to try to maneuver to dodge these torpedoes, deep water torpedoes. Definitely would end my night if one of those hit me. But yeah, we're able to dodge that. So when you're playing this ship and you're destroyer hunting, don't hesitate to pay close attention to that meter. And there we get pinched. And we don't even get the kill there. And now the other destroyer is so far away, and we are so slow that we have no chance to catch him. So to sum up, San Martin and the two ships below it in the line, they're all based off Worcester. They have worse DPM. The San Martin is not like its PC counterpart because it has high explosive instead of armor piercing only. And it loses the really useful improved pen angles of the armor piercing, which personally, for a legendary tier ship, I would have loved to have had that option. Not for the tech tree, but just for this ship. I'm really disappointed we don't have it. The sonar is kind of gimmicky, except in this one situation where you're destroyer hunting and they're not trying to just run away, which is clearly the best thing to do. They're just really nondescript cruisers. I hate to say it. The lower tier ones are much more interesting to me. Anyway, here we are on the victory screen. 80,431 total damage. Really bad damage output. 186 main battery hits, 1 torpedo strike, 3 hand job metal ribbons, 4 fires, 5 cap defended flags, and a solo base cap. We ended up with just under 300,000 silver, 6,000 ship XP, 6,500 commander XP, 2,620 base XP, thanks to those ribbons. No medals, no kills, and no love for the San Martin from me. Yuck. I probably won't bring you videos of the other cruisers. They're all really terrible. Just my opinion. All right, let's go into the port and take a look at the ship after a lengthier message from Wargaming. Please, I would love to hear your thoughts about the ship line and the ship and the PC changes in the comments. All right, upgrades went with aiming system mod 1. Steering gears mod 2. Again, I could definitely see propulsion mod being an option out there. I could also see somebody maybe doing an alternate build where instead of concealment mod, they went with that rudder shift in row 3. I went with gunfire control system mod 2 in row 4. HEAP and torpedoes, pretty standard loadout. Unlimited charges of the damage control party. 6 charges of the advanced sonar, which is really short range. 4 charges of what we call greater heal. The smoke generator would come into play if you were using that propulsion mod rudder shift, I think. Change I talked about. DFAA, much better choice than the catapult fighter, especially for this ship, for reasons we'll discuss in a minute. Rare battle booster for movement speed and cooldown time. The unique Ancestor's Path camouflage, which looks a little less bad on this ship. And the Pan-American Heritage flag. All right, let's hit the right buttons. All right, stats, 49,800 hit points with our build, 7% torpedo damage reduction, 40% fire resistance. Main battery, as discussed, 2 twin, 2 triple, 152 millimeter turrets, 18.9 kilometer firing range with our build. We got a 5-second reload time and a 7.2 second turn time. Both, I think, are really nice, and you don't need to build into that anymore. Shell grouping value of 2.05. Dispersion, all slightly worse than stock. HE shells do 2,200 max damage. Fire setting chance of just 7.5%. Armor pen value 30 millimeters. AP shells do 3,400 max damage. The pen at point blank range is 348.8 millimeters. The pen at max range is a somewhat significant decrease down to 123.9 millimeters. As you can see, the ricochet angles, if this was PC, would be 60 degrees and 75 degrees. Yeah, really disappointing. 2 quintuple tube launchers. The range is 10.5 kilometers at 66 knots. They reload in 106 seconds. Max damage 16,479. The detectability range is 1,300 meters. The arming distance just over 200 meters. AA defense. So this was really throwing me off here when I was looking at this originally. So it appears your main battery is dual purpose and also counts as AA, albeit long range but very ineffective AA, just 47 damage per second. Look right below it, the 76.2 millimeter AA, much more effective. I was like, are there secondaries on the ship? No, there aren't. So the 76.2 millimeter guns, 9 twin emplacements, do 278 damage per second. That is clearly your best AA on the ship. I got waylaid and thought these Orlican guns were going to be really good. They're really not. They do less than half of the damage of those 76.2 millimeter guns. So your dual purpose is the longest stuff, but the best stuff is this 4 kilometer 76.2 millimeter guns. Maneuverability, 35 knots in the water. Rarely see that if you're maneuvering. 790 meter turning circle, 8.5 second rudder shift time. Concealment, also it's not great. 11.9 on the surface, 7.5 from the air, 7.1 when firing in smoke. I think by comparison, the Musashi, my concealment Musashi build, might be more stealthy than this ship. San Martin had 3 kills in the first match, 0 kills in this match. So main battery actually 44%, torpedo accuracy 7%. Yikes. Here in the armor viewer, well, the Citadel is pretty low in the waterline for the most part. You get a pretty standard 25 millimeter bow, if I read that correctly. The front and rear of the turret is a little bit more heavily armored, but there's really nothing special here. I don't think some of the stuff they were talking about in PC vis-a-vis the armor carried over either about the bow stuff. So looking at this other stuff here, full circle, great. Reloader, great. Advanced sonar, great. No mention of the heel. And all this is just notional theory casting by Wargaming about this ship being purchased and used. So that's all it is. As mentioned, these other 2 ships are just copies of it with different gun arrangements. And all of them are pretty uninspiring in my opinion. Come on, give us the one from PC, not this one. All right, looking at the commander, Joaquin Marquez Lisboa, an actual person. Base rate right hand of the crown increases consumable duration up to 10%. We got Kuznetsov for range and Hai Hashiro for cooldown time. Row 1, we went with Beyond Range. Row 2, the unique skill Peace is not an option, which gives us an extra consumable and makes the duration a little bit longer. Die Hard in row 3 changes the reload time and the cooldown reduction time of your consumables, and also the reload of the main battery, pardon me. Acoustic Chamber in row 4, more sonar, cooldown, extended duration, and more charges. And fully packed with another set of consumable charges. We'll just build all into that shit. Anyway, that's the San Martin. Love to hear your thoughts below. I'll see you on the next video, folks.